We've got some facts about fat. It turns out not all fat is created equal, and the areas where you carry extra pounds can actually reveal a lot about your health. And here to help us break down what those trouble spots are and what you can do about it, NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Natalie, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah.
So we're going to go part by part, and let's start with the belly. If you've got belly fat, what's the risk?
Okay, so the belly fat is made up of two layers. You basically have the subcutaneous under the skin fat, which is right at the surface. It's the deeper, what we call the visceral fat, that is your risk for type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all part that we call the metabolic syndrome because they're so close to your internal organs. So the fix, you know, a lot of people do crunches and abs. That's not going to get rid of your visceral fat. That visceral fat is fat.
Because it's so under there?
It's not muscle, right? So the way you need to get rid of it, hardcore cardiovascular exercise, which is code for weight loss. Exactly. But
so
you really
work out
want to do
hard, run, something like that.
Exactly.
For fat burning.
Okay. The next one.
The good old back fat.
The back fat.
Yes.
Okay. So
know it well.
Is there a real risk to it? Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. If I said to you, where's your core, where would you point to?
Here.
Right. A lot of people think that it's just the abdomen, the abdominal muscles, maybe the low back, but in fact, it's also your entire back. You've got your latissimus, your trapezius. A weak back, I should say, or a fat back, could indicate a weak core, which can result in back pain, and it can also result in poor posture and stress on your spine. The other thing I wanted to point out, perhaps the fat back is actually an indicator of an overlying low metabolic state like hypothyroidism that could result in weight gain.
Okay.
So what are you going to do about this? For your back, you definitely want to go to strength training. You also could do cardiovascular because that helps you with weight loss, but you definitely want to concentrate on the muscles of the back. So you're talking
upper back?
Upper and lower back. A lot of different, there's the spine muscles that are really close to the spine that stabilize. Then you have the bigger ones that are involved in movement. You want to build up all those. For the thyroid, if you think you might have a low thyroid, signs of constipation, fatigue, cold intolerance, you go see your doctor, healthcare professional. You get diagnosed, you can be put on thyroid medicine, and we also advocate, of course, exercise for people with low thyroid. It's good for their muscular health and good for their mood, etc.
We're moving on to ankles, or as I like to call them, cankles.
Cankles. Yes. Okay, so are cankles a serious risk? The short answer is, if it's just fat around the ankle, no. But what if that fat is actually fluid? Could that be something indicative of lymphedema?
How do we know?
Right? Or heart disease. How do you know? The question is basically this. If you have the things that can cause edema or swelling in the legs could be a weakened heart muscle. It could also be some kidney problems or some liver problems. You're going to go to your healthcare professional and get the right diagnosis. Some people just have it because their legs are dependent, and we call that venous insufficiency, where you just can't get the fluid back up to the heart.
Yeah.
So how are you going to fix this? If you have fluid on the basis of just that, where it's dependent and gravity is pulling it down, you want to limit your salt intake, you want to increase your protein, and you want to avoid sitting for long periods of time with your legs hanging. You keep them elevated. Of course, if it's coming from the heart and other organs, you need to directly address those.
Drink lots of water too, right?
You can drink water, right? That has exactly to flush out. Okay, the last one. What do you think?
Thighs.
I'm going to hide it. Do you think there's any problem with having fat in your thighs?
Well, medical problem or cosmetic problem?
Oh, that's a good question. Guess what, guys? No problem technically with having fat in the tush or in the legs. That's also what we call the subcutaneous fat, which is not as dangerous as the visceral fat. So you can embrace your booty. If you want to tone it, go right ahead. Squats and lunges and all of that stuff, but it's not really a risk factor for cardiovascular disease.
When you said if you want to tone it, I thought this might have been turning into an intervention, Natalie.
Oh, yeah. Talk to me after the show.
Dr. Natalie Azar, thank you. Great information.
Thanks.
And we're going to keep our booties. That's great.